Hello, hello, lovely people, and welcome to the Lovely Digest podcast. I'm your host and friend Emily, founder and creative director at Bet Creative, sharing weekly wellness wisdom with you every Wednesday. My goal is to help you design your dream life and make the transition from being in information overload to being your own personal success story. Make sure to subscribe to get notifications every time a new episode comes out so you don't miss the latest simple and actionable tips for improving your well-being. Hello, everyone. Today, I want to welcome on Urmi Hossain on the podcast. Urmi is an Italian Bengali working full-time in the financial services industry. She's also a YouTuber, blogger, and self-published author. She's the founder of My Ways, a blog dedicated to empowering girls and women. Urmi's book, Discovering Your Identity, A Rebirth from Interracial Struggle, talks about her own struggle in finding her identity. She's also a volunteer for Speak Up, an organization that fights child marriages in Bangladesh, and Women in Leadership, where she is the social media lead. Personally, Urmi is navigating thyroid issues and can relate to a lot of what we talk about here surrounding chronic illness. Urmi and I talked a lot about how she juggles her busy lifestyle, manages to do everything, her journey with discovering that she had thyroid issues, how she found what really works for her for fitness, and how to publish a book if that's something that you're interested in publishing your own journey. She talks all about how she became a self-published author. And I really hope that you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. So without further ado, let's dive into the conversation. And welcome to the podcast. Before I dive into my questions, would you mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about you?
Yes, it'll be my pleasure. My name is Urmi, and I live in Montreal. I work in the financial services industry. I'm also a self-published author, YouTuber, blogger, and during my free time, I do a lot of things to support causes such as women's empowerment.
That's awesome. So, the first question that I have for you is how do you manage to juggle your professional career, your literary pursuits, and your volunteer work, especially with chronic health issues?
Um, that's a very good question. So basically, to give you a little bit of background, I do have like thyroid issues, and I was diagnosed with thyroid issues almost 10 years ago. And I would say that was when I had a really hard time juggling around with all my things like work. Like I was working full time, I was working part time back then, and I was a student, a full time student, and I was also volunteering for different things. And I remember being really being impacted by the thyroid because I remember my neck was really so swollen and I
Mm.
didn't know what it was. I was like, oh, it's just because it's supposed to be like that. And then I was one day sent to the emergency. And that's when they did a bunch of like blood tests, bunch of tests, and they saw that I have thyroid issues. And since then, I could see how much it was impacting my body.
Mm.
I was getting chubbier for some reason, even though I was not eating too much. I was always tired. I would always feel very sleepy, no matter how many hours I slept, and I couldn't
Wow.
understand why. I remember being very moody. I remember being always anxious, nervous.
Mm.
And then after a year, they told me I had to do an operation because I had a nodule in my neck and I had to remove everything, like my gland and everything, because you never know what was going to happen. And
Mm.
so back then it was really hard. But post the operation, and then when I started to take like the Synthroid and so forth, I could see that there was a huge change in my body. It almost felt like I was reborn because like, first of all, I lost a lot of weight. My mood was much better. I felt a little bit rejuvenated as well. And I felt like I had I felt like leaving and doing things. So there was like a shift, a complete shift from how it was before to how it was afterwards. And now like it's just like a regular part of me where I always have to take this daily medicine to make sure that I function, or otherwise I cannot function. And so now it's like normal. So I'm able to like juggle around things because I plan things ahead and I like do a lot of planning and stuff like that, basically.
Mm. So would you say that do you have like days that are harder than others, and what do you do on those days that maybe you need more support?
To tell the truth, no. I
Mm.
would say before, yes. Before, yes, there were days that were much harder than the others, and I was not sure how to deal with it, if I have to tell you the truth, because it was the first time that I was impacted by this kind of issue with the thyroid.
Mm.
And it runs in the family, like, because even like my uncle, my mom had it, and it was the first time that I actually spoke about it. I didn't know they had it until I spoke about it.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know about it. And they were like, yeah, we also went through like operation and stuff like that. And I was like, really? Like, how is it that no one ever told me? So it runs in the family. And those days were really hard for me. Like I had days where I could not study, I could not focus, I did not have like I could not concentrate. And I just didn't do anything because I didn't know how to handle it. I even if I wanted to take some rest, I had no clue how to deal with it. That was, I would say, the biggest part. And I remember like wanting to work out and working out to lose weight, but I was not able to lose weight because it was just I was retaining water from this whole thing that was happening to me.
Mm.
And I would say the scariest part was to go through the operation because it was the first time that I had an operation. And I was scared, like really, really scared. I was like, what if I don't make it alive or stuff like that? And then when I woke up, my neck was in pain. And it took a while for the scar to go away.
Mm.
But yeah, it took some time. It really took some time for me to accept that, I had this and I depend on medicine now. So
Mm. It's funny you say that about your family because when I first got Crohn's, and the doctors were asking my parents if they had any history of Crohn's, they said no, but my dad goes, "Oh yeah, but I got diagnosed with diverticulitis, which is kind of related. It's in the gut health category." And we were all like, "Wait, you what? You never told us that?" Like, I think it's so important to chat with your family because I think in high school we had to do this exercise where you talk to your family about health conditions. And I just remember a lot of us were like, what? Like, we don't, I don't know. I feel like our parents are our parents. They're always so healthy. And then you talk to them and you're
yeah,
like, no, actually, things run in the family that you should be aware of.
yes, and yeah, exactly. It was the same case for me too. Yeah. Mhm.
In our previous conversation, you mentioned that you have gotten into Muay Thai. I think that's how you say it. Is that right?
Yeah, Muay Thai slash boxing.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. So, how has that helped you to become stronger mentally and physically?
You know what? I started Muay Thai just by chance. I think it was I follow a bunch of people on Instagram and I would see other women doing Muay Thai. I would see my sister doing Muay Thai. I had a friend doing Muay Thai, so I was like, you know what? Initially wasn't interested. I was like, oh, it's just self-defense, like who cares? But then I was very curious about it. And so I went to try a class, and this was literally last year. And I would say I totally fell in love with it.
Mm.
Because it wasn't just because it was a full workout, but it was how it made me feel afterwards. Yes, I was like drenched in my sweat and stuff like that, but it's how it made me feel afterwards. Because it gave me like confidence, it increased my self-esteem, it made me believe in myself that I can do this type of activities. Because usually I would say that Muay Thai, when you think about it, you always think, okay, it's something that men do, but
Mm.
not really.
Mm.
Because in the classes or in the place where I went, you also have women doing Muay Thai. And I would also do, because they offer Muay Thai and boxing, so I would also do boxing classes. And then afterwards I had to stop Muay Thai for various reasons, but now I went back to self defense, but I do boxing now. And again, I love it. I love how it makes me feel afterwards. Like it sounds very intimidating because you have these gloves, you think you're not strong enough. But I would say that as you go, you build like mental resilience and physical resilience, and you become much, much stronger. And I then love that. Like I would say, like once you go to boxing and Muay Thai and you do like other types of workout, it doesn't give you the same feeling. So you don't even like do feel like doing other things like boot camp or CrossFit because it's not the same thing. It's literally not. So it's like when I go boxing or Muay Thai, it's my happy place, I would say.
I would also just like to put it out there and let you know that I have turned on listener support, which is offered through Anchor, which is the platform that I use to publish this podcast with Spotify. They offer several tiers that renew monthly for 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99. And by picking one of these, you can support me so that I can continue to make these podcasts and deliver good quality content to you guys. I'm looking to maybe invest in a better microphone so that you don't hear my S's as annoyingly as you do now. So apologies for that, but that is something that I would put that money towards. I would also love to start having guests on. And, once you dive into something and you start getting into it, there's so many hidden costs and things once you start learning more and wanting to upgrade. So, again, you would be greatly supporting my channel. If you feel inclined to do this, please feel free. If not, that's totally fine. This is free content and I just want it to be totally accessible for anyone. But again, if you feel inclined, you can head to my page and click listener support, I believe. And yeah, just choose whatever tier you want, and that'll automatically renew each month. So if you want to just make a one-time payment, make sure to remember to cancel. Thank you in advance. I really appreciate you all for being here. And again, if you don't have the ability to make that contribution and want to know how you can help me out, leaving a review would be an amazing thing. So again, whatever you end up doing for this podcast, I appreciate you, even if you're just listening and that's all you can do right now. I really love you for that and appreciate you for that and hope you'll stick around. Oh, I love that. I feel like everyone has to find that one thing that works for them. Like CrossFit really works for some people, but not others. Maybe it's like too hard on the body. I know I really like weightlifting because I can do lighter weights and it doesn't tax my body as much as cardio does, where sometimes like I'll go for a run and I'll be so tired after that I can't function, which kind of defeats the purpose of working out in my opinion. Like you want to be drenched and sweaty, but feeling like powerful and like ready to take on the world and gaining that muscle. But yeah, I feel like everyone needs to go through the experience of finding that for themselves. Would you say that Muay Thai and boxing is like more low impact, or like how would you describe it?
No, there's no such thing as low impact. I can already tell you, like it's all high impact. It's high intensity cardio and muscle training. No, there's no such thing as low impact. Forget it. Like literally forget it. Like you do so many like because you're like boxing, like you're doing the jab, cross, punch, and stuff like that, but you're also doing exercises like jumping rope, burpees, jumping jacks, push-ups. So it's like intense and it's a high speed. So you have to be ready to go through that because it's like literally the workout that you would do if you were like a military or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
it's intense. It's intense.
Wow. So I would say like maybe this is for someone who's like in remission with their illness and feeling good, but like if you want to like take it to the next level and you're feeling good and you're like, okay, I've kind of graduated from yoga, like I need something harder. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the funny thing because I used to do like yoga and Pilates. But when I think about those two type of like exercises, I'm like, I don't want to go to yoga because it makes me fall asleep,
Mm,
literally. So yeah, I tried a little bit of everything, but I would say like I finally found the right thing for me, which is basically boxing or Muay Thai.
yeah, I see yoga as like more of a rest day thing, like where you want to stay active, but like you want to do it before bed and to calm down. Yeah, I really like doing it at the end of the day, but it doesn't like wake me up. It puts me to sleep as well.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
So you have written a book, and what inspired you to write your book and tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, I actually self-published a book. It's been almost a year actually. It's hard to think about it, but it's been almost a year that I have self-published it. And I wrote this book because I would get invited to many podcasts, and everyone was always interested to learning about my history of being a third culture kid.
Mm,
Um, because I am Italian by birth and Bengali by blood, and I remember people being interested in learning how it was for me to grow up in Italy while also, having South Asian roots. And so
mm,
in the book, I make a comparison between the two cultures because they're very, very different from each other.
mm.
In a way, they're also conflicting in certain aspects. And so I talk about my experience living and growing up in a Western society while at the same time while at the same time I was growing up in a South Asian household. And so I
Mhm.
make a lot of comparison and I talk it from a perspective of a South Asian woman.
Oh, I love that so much. And how would you say that like that has impacted your life, like writing a book and going through that journey?
It was you know what, it was very therapeutic.
Mm,
It's a sort of like journaling at the end, you're writing down thoughts. And so I'm happy that I did it because I feel like I have something concrete that I can go back to. But
mm,
it was very therapeutic in a sense. I actually enjoyed the whole process of writing the book and having self-published because like it was even for me, it was like my own joy that I can say to people, you know what, I actually wrote a book. So like it's not something that everyone is able to do. I feel like a lot of people have it on their to-do list, but they're never able to accomplish it. So for me, it was an accomplishment and it made me feel really good afterwards. So
mm. Out of curiosity, if someone else wanted to write a book and self-publish, what would be some tips for them, like how to get started with that?
So I actually read another book before writing my book, which was called How to Write a Book in 30 Days. I
Wow.
used that as a guide, but I also had a friend who self-published a book. And so basically, like, first of all, you definitely need to have an actual schedule and you have to be committed towards writing a book because I think sometimes we tend to procrastinate because we know it's a lot of work, but you
Mm,
have to block off time on your calendar and you have to be like very consistent with it where you sit down every day and make sure that at least dedicate 30 minutes to an hour to write a chapter or something. So once you have the first draft written, I would say definitely go over the draft. And then what I did is I went on Fiverr, which is a freelancer platform. And over there, I basically tried to find someone who could help me with the editing and formatting. And so I found this person. So she literally helped me with the editing and formatting. And then with her, I did a lot of back and forth because I was like, I don't know what I should have on my cover page. What do you think? Or what should I have as a title? So she really helped me a lot with that. So once I did that, the editing and formatting, I had basically the online version, the Kindle version of the book, and the next thing was that you have to just upload it on Amazon. So once
mm,
you upload it on Amazon, basically all you have to do is that you just have to put the price both for the online version if people want to just buy a Kindle version of the book or if they want to have also the paper version. So you have to put the two pricing. You have to have a description. You have to have a cover page you need to have it like a picture of you and the description of the book and who you are as an author, and then you're ready to publish it. Usually it takes like less than 24 hours before it's published, but once it's published, you can just go ahead and promote it everywhere, basically.
Wow, that's awesome. Um, I feel like you would be a good person to ask because I feel like a theme throughout our conversation has been that you like really go after things and make things happen when you want to try something. And something that I struggle with and that I feel like other people might struggle with is like figuring out where to start, how to start, and to just like, we know we just want to dive in and do something, but it's taking that first step that I feel is the hardest. So, do you have any tips around like starting, like maybe a new workout practice or publishing a book or starting a podcast or whatever it might be?
Yeah, I do agree with you. The first step is always like the hardest step is the one where you have to just start with something. Um, I actually do have like a goal setting journal where I do write down everything that I want to achieve.
Mm,
And then I actually try to, I have that and I have a vision board. So
love it.
I look at the vision board, I look at the to-do list, not the to-do list, but the goals I want to achieve in the year, and then I tackle each one of them one at a time. So for instance, like writing a book was something that I wanted to do, but I had to be self-motivated enough to start on it. And so a
Mm,
lot of the time I think it comes from within yourself and within your own self-discipline that, okay, if I want to do this, I really have to make sure that I am serious enough about it.
mm,
And so I think for me, it helps the fact that I am very self-disciplined, that I actually very serious when it comes to doing things. And I am an achiever, I would say. Like I do consider myself to be a go-getter. I do feel accomplished when I do things. And so I always run after things. Like if there's one thing that I want to do, I don't give up on it. So self-affirmation really helps. Seeing other people accomplishing things really helps because it's a source of inspiration, but also telling yourself that you can do it helps as well. So it's different factors. It's internal, external personality. It's a little bit of everything, but I think the first step has to be from yourself that you know you can do it. And you know what they say, like 80% of the work is done, or 50% of the work is done if you just show up or if you start on it, and the rest just comes along. I do like to believe in that.
mm. Do you keep your vision board somewhere where you can see it every day to kind of remind you?
No, I don't. That's the thing. I don't. I have it on Canvas, and I have the same concept or the same things that I put on my vision board. I put it on my to-do list or my
Mm,
goals for the year, and I actually go back to my goals. And I usually I don't need to go back to all of these things because it is an ongoing thing. Like if I do have a goal, I don't just start in January and then I give up and I look back at it in December. I actually look at it in January and then I keep going and I keep working on it in every month, for instance, until I don't achieve it, basically.
yeah, that's really smart to have it, like to go back to it and remind
Mhm.
yourself so that you can keep making those actionable steps. So where can people find your book online? I know you said Amazon, and I'll have all the links below, but just where can people find and connect with you?
So people can connect with me in different ways. I have a LinkedIn profile which is called Urmi Hossain, and this is where I get all main of the people connected with me. I do post a lot of things over there. I have an Instagram account which is called Urmi Mio. I have a YouTube channel called Urmi Hossain. I have my book which is available on Amazon. It's called Discovering Your Identity: A Rebirth from Interracial Struggle. I also have an ebook which I published not too long ago, which is about your Italian summer. So if you're traveling to Italy for the first time, what
Ooh.
expression do you need to know? So I have that too available on Amazon.
Oh, I love that. I'm not going this summer, but I'm going in November for more of like a chill
Ah,
little Italian vacation. So I'm so
yeah.
excited to read that.
Yeah, it's a good guide if you're like, because people, I do have a lot of friends coming to me and being like, oh, I'm going to Italy. What do I need to know? How do I order this? How do I order that? And I'm like, you know what? Let me just create a book and then buy it. from me.
Yes, yeah, put it all in one spot. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Thank you so much for being here and spending your time with me and sharing all of these amazing tips and tricks with people. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Well, that is it for now, lovelies. Thank you so much for tuning in. For more tips and to join our online community off the podcast, follow Lovely Digest on Instagram and Emily Beck on YouTube. The links will be below. To join our email community and get notified of new discounts, tips, and resources, follow the link in the show notes. If you thought this was helpful or know if it might help a friend, please make sure to share it, and if you feel inclined, leave a review. It really helps get these tips in front of the people who may really benefit from this community we have here. See you next week.